Hey guys, it's John here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be doing an unboxing and review of another rare and discontinued sea monkey tank, the much requested Explor-A-Sub. I'll be doing another giveaway on this video too, so stick around to the end of the video to find out how you can win a free Sea Monkeys Ocean Zoo kit that I'll be giving away to one of my subscribers. This submarine themed tank was released by Exploratoy in 2001 and originally retailed for just $19.95. It features a bunch of unique elements that I've not seen in any other sea monkey tank before, including multiple internal lights and built-in submarine sounds too. This set came out during the heyday of novelty sea monkey product releases when Exploratoy was in charge of the brand around the turn of the century. While researching this product, friend of the channel, Angel Torres, brought this press release for the Explor-A-Sub to my attention. It's from July 2001 and gives some more information about this set. It says that it was introduced in the wake of the success of three other well-known sea monkey kits, the Sea Monkeys Magic Castle and Mars tanks, and also the popular NASA Space Shuttle, all of which sold very well and were released just a year or two before this one. It also says that the internal lights and neon-coloured rings in the tank can be used to train the sea monkeys as they're naturally photophilic animals. Since the Explor-A-Sub has been discontinued for over 20 years, I had to pick this one up second-hand off eBay, which I managed to get for just $50, which is a really decent price for its age, especially considering it's unopened. The box is in decent condition, other than some light fading on one side, where it's probably been left in the sun for a little bit too long. The packaging for this kit is really nice. On the front of the box, we have the Sea Monkeys logo up top, and Explor-A-Sub written in large bold lettering down the bottom. The edges are framed with some nice aquatic illustrations of those famous pink sea monkey characters, a few of which seem to be driving futuristic underwater vehicles, and others that are riding some creepy looking deep sea creatures. In the middle we have a large window cutout giving us a preview of the submarine tank inside. The sides and top have more of these aquatic illustrations. I especially love this porthole family portrait. It helps to tie in the idea of these characters really living inside the Explor-A-Sub. Turning over to the back, we get a little more information about what we can expect from this kit. But there's also an interesting claim on here, which I'm surprised to see. It explains what sea monkeys are, but then goes on to say, best of all, these new sea monkeys will change colour. As they grow, watch them turn yellow, orange, and red. I guess there is some truth to this. Female sea monkeys do often turn a rusty orange colour when they reach full maturity, though the males typically stay transparent and colourless in my experience. Coming down, we have a list of the kit's elaborate contents. It even includes the necessary AA batteries, which somehow are still working after all these years. Over on the right hand side is an application for a Sea Monkey diploma. These are still available for purchase on the official Sea Monkeys website, and are a great piece of Sea Monkey ephemera if you want to pick one up. Let's open this up and take a look at everything inside. Most of the box content seems to be hidden in the small compartment above the tank. I know that 22 years isn't all that old in the grand scheme of things, but it's always a bit of a surreal feeling opening these old toys after such a long time. To think this box has been patiently waiting for over 2 decades to finally put to use is pretty cool. First up, we have 2 pieces of paperwork. The first has illustrated instructions on one side and written ones on the back. It's a bit of a shame they've not made a special set of instructions exclusively for the Explor-A-Sub, the way they did with the Space Shuttle and Robodiver kits. Perhaps they didn't think this tank had any mechanism that was unique enough to justify it. There's also this pullout that shows a selection of different Exploratoy Sea Monkey products, including the tanks for 2 upcoming videos that I'll be making on the channel later this year, the Magiquarium and Ghostly Galleon. Let me know down in the comments if you have any of these old Exploratoy kits in your collection. Next up are the 3 essential sea monkey pouches that are needed to start our colony, and the double-ended yellow feeding spoon. These packets all seem like they're in really good condition for their age, so I will try to hatch them even though it's unlikely the eggs are still viable after all these years. I have a brand new starter kit here that I'll use instead if I don't have any luck with them. I really like that the growth food packet here has this vintage illustration on it. I'd love to see Transcience go back to these for some of their retro-inspired products in the future. There's also an aqua leash that comes with this kit. Usually this is included as a means to aerate your tank and add oxygen into the water, but I'm unsure why they've put it in here, as this tank has a separate aerator which I'll show you in more detail a little later. The final accessory is a small plastic funnel, which is just to help with the tank setup. And here's the Explor-A-Sub itself. As far as shape is concerned, this is definitely the most unique Sea Monkey tank design I've ever seen. We have an ovular-shaped submarine tank that sits atop a blue ocean reef pedestal. Inside are 3 plastic O-rings in red, yellow and green. Their main function is just to add some extra colour to the tank when you turn on the internal lights. My only real concern with this tank so far is that it doesn't have any kind of textured substrate on the bottom to help facilitate algae growth, which is something that I usually think is quite important. Coming down to the bottom of the tank stand are the words, "The Amazing Life Sea-Monkeys Explor-A-Sub," with 4 buttons sitting below it. The one on the far left, when held down, turns on a light on the left hand side of the tank, and the one on the right activates the corresponding light at the stern. Since sea monkeys are naturally attracted to light, you can alternate which light is turned on, making your sea monkeys swim back and forth from one side of the tank to the other. We'll have to test this out later to see how well it actually works. The 2 buttons in the middle play some fun sounds. One beeps like a submarine radar, which is appropriate. But the other one sounds like a train beeping its horn while going past a rail crossing. I'm guessing they just use the generic soundboard here as a cost-saving measure, but it is kind of funny. At the top of the tank is the built-in aerator I mentioned earlier. It's basically a shorter variation of the million bubble air pump that was sold at the time. I'll show you how it works in a moment, but first I need to set up the tank. Firstly, we need to remove the aerator from the top and then pop this small plastic funnel into the opening. This will allow us to cleanly pour in packets number 1, the water purifier, and packet number 2, the instant live eggs, into the tank without spilling any of the salts. Now after this, I'd usually use an aqua leash to help mix up the water and dissolve these salt crystals, but since we have a built-in aerator, I'm going to try using that instead. You can see this tool does a really great job of adding oxygen into the water. So even though these days I usually prefer to use a proper airline in my tanks, it's definitely a nice addition. I'm going to keep the tank on this windowsill for the next few weeks while I wait for the sea monkeys to hatch and grow. They'll get plenty of indirect sunlight here without the water getting too hot. Now while I usually prefer to have an air pump with an airline permanently bubbling away in my sea monkey tanks these days, for this tank I'm just going to use the built-in aerator instead. The hole up top is large enough to accommodate a small air stone with an airline though, just in case I did want to go that route. It's definitely not big enough to fit a heater though, so I'll be using an under-tank heat pad to keep this tank warm. I'm not sure how effective it'll be because of the tank's pedestal, but it's probably better than nothing. To finish off, I'll place a small grow light by the tank too, to help facilitate algae growth. And there we are. Now, we just have to wait. I'll check back in with you guys in a month or so for an update on how the sea monkeys are doing and my final review of the Explor-A-Sub. Hey guys, so it's been about 5 weeks since I set this tank up, and our sea monkey crew inside the Explor-A-Sub have been manning the vessel well. There's around 15 adults in there now, and they've just started having their first babies too. Those original 20-year-old eggs I put in here unfortunately didn't end up hatching, so after 5 days I restarted the tank with a fresh starter kit instead. Over the last few weeks, my thoughts about this kit have changed quite a lot. There are some design elements that I've come to appreciate, and others which have been a little frustrating. Before I give you my full review though, I want to test out those internal lights to see if we can get the sea monkeys to perform some tricks. Since they're known to be very receptive to light, I decided to keep them in complete darkness for 30 minutes, and then I started alternating the internal lights of the tank to see how they would react. My hope was that they would swim from one side of the tank to the other, following the light, but instead, they kinda just carried on swimming as usual. A little disappointing, but still something fun to experiment with nonetheless. And now for my final thoughts on the Explor-A-Sub. Firstly, the shape. The submarine idea is definitely unique, and I like that they tried to go for something a bit different here. The experience of keeping sea monkeys in the Explor-A-Sub has felt very different to any other sea monkey tank I've ever used in the past. I can't say I'm a huge fan of it though. The curved plastic makes it difficult to track the sea monkeys as they swim around the tank, though those brightly coloured neon rings do help a little in this regard. They jut out into the interior of the tank about a centimetre or so, making little walls for the sea monkeys to swim up against, so that can be pretty handy for watching and filming them. I've really come to love the built-in million bubble air pump too. Since it's always sitting in the tank, I found myself using it frequently, which kept me more involved with this kit than usual. One downside I found though, was that the small opening at the top of the tank can be frustrating for several reasons. It's too small to add in a heater if you needed one, and it also makes it more difficult to access different parts of the tank for cleaning with a pipette. You may have also noticed that there's no algae growing in this tank either, That's likely due to a few reasons. Firstly, this tank doesn't promote airflow too well. Other than the air pump and a few small air holes up top, it's pretty closed off. The lack of any textured substrate at the bottom of the tank definitely doesn't help either. Overall, I did have a lot of fun trying out the Explor-A-Sub, but I think I'd rather just stick to the more standard shaped tanks in the future. I want to hear from you guys though. Do you like this unusual tank shape? Or do you have a preference for the more traditional design of the Ocean Zoo and Ocean Volcano? Okay, so to enter the giveaway to win a Sea-Monkey Ocean Zoo tank, simply leave a comment on this video and I'll pick a random winner in 1 month from now and send you the tank color of your choice. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.